Here we are today at the 2x4 workshop again. I want to introduce you to my son Tanner, who is a little bit of my clone in a lot of ways. He has a lot of the same skills that I have. He had a project at school that he had to do for a certain class, and this is what he came up with.
So I built a Tron disc, and so my teacher said that he had gotten a few in the past, because what the project was, it was to build a prop for my theater tech class, and he said a lot of ones that he had gotten in the past were like two paper plates put together or made out of cardboard, plastic frisbee, and he said, he was like, I know you have skills, I want you to use them, I expect greater things from you than cardboard. And I was like, okay, I'll see what I can do. And so
Tanner took a piece of 3/4 inch MDF in this case, and you can use anything. You could use plywood. It doesn't even have to be this big. And this Tron disc was which Tron?
Kevin Flynn's, like the original white guy, you know, the creator.
Okay, just so you know which one we're talking about here. So with this Tron, with what he did was he took a piece of 3/4 inch MDF and he drew a perfect circle. If you don't know how to do that, you can take either a 5-gallon bucket, a 1-gallon paint can, anything that's a perfect circle, and you can trace it. Now, I don't really love to do it that way because you don't know where the center of the circle is. You have to do your best guessing and measuring to find the exact center of the circle. So what I'd much rather do is either use a piece of string and a finish nail, or use something like this. Now this is just something that we put together with 2 sticks, a little finish nail in it, and pencil taped on it. The most important thing here is that they don't move. And then we can spread this out to whatever width we want. And I'll show you an example here on this board. We push the finish nail down in the board, and then when we make the circle, when we come all the way around, whoops, I missed it. When we come all the way around with the circle, I have to do that over. So I'm going to push my, you can even start this out with a nail punch or nail if you want so it doesn't move. And we're going to move this around with our circle. And when we're all done, not only do we have a perfect circle that will go all the way around, and as you keep going around this circle, if you just keep going around, it will line up all the way around and around. And the other thing that you have when you're all done, you'll see you have this mark right in the middle that marks the exact center of your circle. Now you can take this mark and you can drill a hole through here. In the case of Tanner's project, he drilled a hole big enough for the shaft on this grinder. Tanner, do you want to tell them what you used the grinder for?
Yeah.
We don't have a lathe.
We don't have a lathe. So we had to get a little creative. When I cut it out, I just used a jigsaw because it was what we had readily available. And it wasn't a perfect circle, so I decided I had to put it on something. I had to get it a good circle. And I also had to do put a edge on this bevel. And since
which in this case you did it with a router, but this wouldn't have to be done with a router. You could do this with sandpaper. It would take a little bit more time, but you could do that part on your own.
So I didn't actually do the outside edge on the router. I did the inside edge on the router, and I put, because we didn't have a sharp enough angle bit for the router. If you do, that's great. If you have the bigger ones, we just didn't. So I put it on here, and then again, since we don't have a lathe, we don't have lathe tools, so I took a file, a wood file, just, you know, and I put it on, and I just held the file. Actually, before I even made this, I just held it on the bench and just held it to it to get that bevel. And then
now this is one of the key things when you're dealing with a lathe. If you're ever doing anything with a lathe or making a perfect circle of any kind, you have to have something that you can set the tool on so that it will not vibrate. Otherwise it will move and you will never get a true circle. So that's kind of a critical point there. The next big challenge that we had in this project was to put the lights on it and have a way to store the batteries the right kind of batteries in the disc and make it still look pretty decent, so they weren't bulky and hanging out of the disc. And so Tanner's going to show you that right now.
So what we did is we plunge cutted the router into the side of it and made a hole just big enough for a little 12-volt battery. Believe it or not, that's 12 volts right there. And then we drilled 2 holes for positive and negative wires and ran them down in. And then if you can see that, we just stuffed tinfoil inside and the wire just taps right there. And then we took our LED strip and wrapped it all around.
And this LED strip happened to have an adhesive tape on the back. It was self-adhesive, so we just pulled this strip off and wrapped it around the disc. If we had enough time, we probably would have done an internal on the internal circle too, but we were a little short on time.
Yeah. Another important thing is that with this LED strip, it comes in a long strand, but you can't just cut it anywhere. They have special marks where you can cut them, and it'll be different for anyone you buy.
And you can buy these LED strips online, either on eBay or Amazon, and they're very, very cheap. You'll just need to know which one you get. Some will run on 5 volts and some will run on 12. In this case, this one runs on 12 volts. So there's our Tron disc. And what grade did you get?
I think I got 100.
I thought you said a 105.
Oh yeah, I got a 105. That's it.
There we go.
Yeah.